Welcome to Punchline Talks, International Women's Day. My name is Mark Owen, and my guest today is Angharad Trueman, MD of CGT Lettings and Sales, and she's also Vice President of ARA. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having me on.
Well, we want to talk about International Women's Day. And what does it mean to you?
Oh, gosh. Okay, so International Women's Day for me, it represents celebrating fellow women's achievement, female achievement. It represents supporting other women. And it also represents to me women being positive role models in business to encourage other women to see that that route is possible.
What could more men do to help women in business, or women generally, actually, within the workplace?
I think it is understanding that sometimes there may be a requirement for different levels of flexibility for women, especially working parents who are returning to work, sort of being open to that. I think it's recognizing that you should have a mixed gender workforce, not just gender, but a mixed age group, ethnicity, because businesses who have more of a mixed workforce, they are statistically more successful as businesses. So I think for men, it's about understanding that gender bias they may have naturally and trying to sort of put steps in place to overcome that within a business.
Now, you obviously, not obviously, but did you have to overcome a lot of sort of prejudice and when you were getting into business yourself?
Well, I work in the estate agency sector, which is traditionally very male dominated. We have, the traditional image of an estate agent is a man in a shiny suit driving a BMW. So especially in estate agency, it is very male dominated, and I have had to overcome some barriers along with that. We have had landlords in the past who have said they didn't want to deal with me because I'm a woman. Which is interesting. I think it's just about explaining in those situations then, if you don't want to deal with me, then there isn't anyone else. So your problem's not going to get resolved. So yeah, I think, it is something I have to deal with now and again. And it's just about working through it, overcoming it, showing that I'm equally as qualified to do the job as a woman. And I will bring a different viewpoint sometimes to it because I'm a woman.
And does this still happen nowadays?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I've had people call up and ask for the male director in the business.
Oh.
But yeah, it's just something that you get used to, I guess, and you just have to keep calling it out every time you see it.
Yeah, and where would you like to see us in like 5 or 10 years? How do you see the future?
I see the future that we are encouraging more women into senior leadership roles, and we're making it more accessible for women. That the gender pay gap is shortening, is becoming smaller. Unfortunately, the pandemic set us back a little bit with that. So I'd like to see it more even, especially in director positions, in C-suite positions, that they are more equally balanced between men and women, to just bring about that difference of viewpoint, really.
And I had an opportunity to sort of talk to a broader church of women out there. What would you say to them? They were just starting off into work, and they experienced, experienced the sort of sexism that you've experienced.
I think it's just if you do experience that, number one, you have to call it out. Don't just accept it. You need to ask that person why they're saying those sorts of things and explain to them the sort of bias that's coming across by saying those sorts of things. Just keep going out there and doing the best possible job that you can, demonstrating that you are equally as qualified for it as your male counterparts. And I'd also say to people that being a woman and the possibility that you may one day want to have a baby shouldn't hold you back from trying to go for those promotions. I have loads of friends who will say to me things like, "Oh, there's a promotion that's come up at work, and I really want to go for it, but I also want to have a baby next year, so I don't want to, what's the point in me going for it?" And I just think I hate it when I hear that. I just think, no, that those two things are not mutually exclusive. You can also get a promotion and start a family, and I think you just need to understand that you can do both, really.
And you have.
Yes, yeah, I have a little boy. Yeah, he's 3. So I'm a working parent juggling childcare and running a business with 40 staff. So it can be done. And yeah, you just have to to keep going with it, really. And hopefully, I'm lucky I work for a really progressive company. We have many part-time workers, job shares, things like that in our business, and I just hope that more businesses can start to look at things like that and be more flexible in their approach.
And I hope International Women's Day clears the air and gets some greater understanding amongst it, stops it.
Yeah, and we need more role models. We need more women who are role models, who do these things, who do run businesses, and our parents to come forward and talk about their story. Because if we don't have those strong, positive role models, then more women won't understand that it is possible. So that's one of the real key things for me, International Women's Day, is that women talk about their stories and talk about how they've got to where they've got to and how they manage juggling life and all its ups and downs, to inspire other women into that sort of path as well.
And Angharad Trueman, thank you ever so much for joining us today. Thanks for joining Punchline Talks. Bye.